Hey, so this is not a music post. I just wanted to share this, and I share this for people who already have similar beliefs. I'm not in the business of convincing other people to believe what I believe or live their life the way I do. This is just to share with other people who are kind of on a similar path, because it might actually help them. So basically, I guess I should start by first explaining, my definitions of certain things. So some of us believe, and we do believe it is biblical, that we do go from lifetime to lifetime, and we come in contact with the same souls over and over, but in different roles, to teach us spiritual lessons so that we can evolve, right? And become closer to the source. Some people call that God, whatever, And so there's a lot of new agey stuff terms that people use, and maybe they have different meanings for those terms than I do. So people talk about twin flames. Twin flame is when there's a soul that somehow got broken in half, and you're each looking for that other person, like my other half or whatever. Not everybody really believes in that, okay? And then there's people who just believe that there are soul contracts or soul ties, and what that means is that there's lessons that you're supposed to learn by doing this role playing, in each lifetime. Spiritual lessons that are supposed to help you, and it's like almost understood right before you're born, what the terms of that situation are going to be, and it's like a contract, it's like a promise. Like, and if you've hurt somebody in a past life and you need to learn, not be punished, but learn how to do better, you'll encounter that situation, but maybe from the other person's point of view. Stuff like that. It's not that simple, but stuff like that. So sometimes we have soul contracts, or we have soul ties, or we have soul recognition. And we have soulmates, and soulmate could be anybody. It's not necessarily a romantic interest. It's not necessarily the one person that you're supposed to marry, and have kids with and live happily after. It could be a best friend. It could be a mentor. It could be a parent. It could be a sibling. It could be a pet. It could be, any soul that you're close to, that you've learned from, or that you've taught, on your path, right? And sometimes the ties are very, very strong. And usually they're very strong, not necessarily because there was a love interest, although there could have been, and you recognize that part of the person's soul that was your lover, your significant other, whatever. That could happen, but mostly it's because there's still a lesson that you guys are supposed to work on in this lifetime still. And when people told me about all this stuff, I thought it was crazy and a bunch of malarkey until it happened to me. It's happened to me a couple times where there was a very strong soul bond, right? And I didn't know what was happening to me. I mean, I didn't know what the hell was happening to me. Some people have called it limerence, but limerence has to do with attraction, a strong attraction. This is not just physical attraction. It's a deep spiritual pull, a spiritual and a psychological pull. And it feels like there's no real explanation for it. A lot of times a person could be totally not your type, the total opposite of you. You could be from other countries, other races, other religions. You could be, usually very, like there's no sense, it doesn't make sense in terms of like who you are in this lifetime for you to have that pull to that person. Or sometimes it does make sense, but you just don't understand like why, and you can't shake it. And I know that there are people who talk about witchcraft, they talk about spells. It's not about that. It is an organic tie, an energetic tie. It has nothing to do with spell work. It has nothing to do with witchcraft. It's just there. Just like maybe there are some spots on the earth that have more of a magnetic pull than others or whatever else. It's just there. It's usually there for a reason. There's usually a lesson, but it's there. And there's people who'll say, oh, do cord cutting. It doesn't work if it's a soul tie like that. Cord cutting doesn't work, and in fact can be harmful, because all it does is delay your lesson. When if you're coming across that person at a particular point in your life, it's a lesson that you're supposed to learn at that point in your life, and delaying it or stopping it is probably not good, because things are given a lot of times for a reason. You may not understand the reason until later, or never at all, but it's for a reason. So anyway, it's very difficult. It's very difficult, and it's meant to be kind of a challenge to have that kind of a deep thing, because again, it's not necessarily something where that person is supposed to be your significant other. You're here to learn something in this connection, right? A lot of times the person is already committed to someone else. They have a soul contract, a marital bond, some other bond to another person, which complicates matters. And that is actually happens a lot, because we don't know, we're gonna have this soul tie with this person in 5 years, you know what I mean? And it's very hard to shake, and we have all of these dogmatic social conventions that say it's wrong to feel stuff, or maybe we can't really control how we feel, so that shaming and that guilt and that, it makes it difficult, because we're stuck on that, and we're not looking for the lesson, right? We're not looking for the reason. There's a lesson in it. And it's hard to, if you don't really believe in spiritual things, you're just kind of in agony, wondering that you lost your damn mind. So anyway, I have been dealing with a situation where there was a strong soul tie. And because I have some understanding of this stuff, I understood that this is not something you immediately act on. You wait, you breathe, you meditate, and you try to find what is the lesson, what is the lesson I'm supposed to learn in this situation. What am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to teach? What's the situation? I took a step back and observed other people, observed myself, observed all the different situations, and it was difficult, but I did, and the other person said and did things that weren't cool, that damaged my reputation and weren't true, all because they have an avoidant personality. They didn't understand what was happening. They thought maybe there was spell work, which there wasn't, or I was doing something and I wasn't, and so it was kind of hard, and this is a person I hadn't done no wrong. I hadn't done no wrong to them or their people at all. If anything, I showed them nothing but love. So it was difficult. And the funny thing about being intuitive is it doesn't mean that you know everything. You pick up on energies, you know when something's off. Sometimes you know the details of why it's off, and other times you just don't. But sometimes the Holy Spirit will not let you know all the details, because it's a lesson. They want to see what answers you're going to come up with. And sometimes it's not something you can handle. or even if you could handle it, it's not something you would understand anyway, you know. So there's a lot of acceptance that has to come in, you know, having to accept each person's situation and circumstance, having to accept both the good and the bad, or the dark and the light, or the shadow and the light side of them, and looking at yourself, having to accept things about yourself, you know. Also accept timing. Like sometimes it ain't the right time, it ain't the right circumstance, you know. Accept that feelings are not always enough, and that maybe this isn't about, like, these feelings are about a lesson, you know, a lesson you're supposed to learn. So Spirit didn't give me all the details. Like, I knew certain things were off, I knew that certain things didn't feel right, other things did. I knew that I needed to be careful around certain people during this whole situation. I wasn't sure why, but I felt it, and I did the best I could. It's very hard, this type of a lesson. And later it was revealed to me that some really fucked up things were done, really fucked up things were said, that have really smeared my name wrongfully, impeded my money, impeded my job, caused hardship to my kids who have special needs, caused a lot of problems wrongfully, entirely wrongfully. And if I was to get into all the damage that these people did when I came in nothing but love to be of service to them, when asked, it's angering. It's angering, and you want to get back at them, you want to sue them, you want to, like, you know, give them a taste of their own medicine, you want justice for it, you know. And it's really hard. And even people who I don't even know, who never met me, don't know anything about me, just on people's words alone, jumped in on it. I mean, it got on the internet. I mean, it was real bad. And still having to deal with the aftermath of that. And I don't want to talk too much about the damage that was done and continues to be done, because I feel like if I do that, I'm giving it power, and I'm giving it energy, and I'm giving it validity, you know, and I'm feeding it, because some people are really that messed up that they're happy. They're so jealous, and so whatever their deal is, that they get off on seeing somebody who hasn't, for whatever reason, they're jealous of something that they think you have, that you might not even have, that they feel they don't have, or whatever their deal is, and they enjoy hearing about how something negatively affected you. Like, there are really people out there like that. They enjoy it. And so I don't want to really dwell on how bad this was and is, because it really, again, I don't want to give them validity or power, or entertain that sickness that they derive energy and pleasure from. You know, I don't want to enable that. But suffice to say, it's pretty bad. And it was really a betrayal, because I really hadn't done anything I was accused of, and I really didn't do anything at all to deserve what's been going down, what went down, and what's continued to go down. But especially was hurtful that it came from the person that it did. Okay, someone I showed nothing but love for, that I had this connection with. I don't understand to this day why, and it's okay. I don't have to understand why. And maybe, like, if I understood why, that would be a bad thing, because then that would mean that behavior like that would make sense to me. And if it makes sense to me, then maybe I'm capable of it, and I don't want to be capable of doing to certain people what has been done to me. So I was really upset when Spirit revealed to me. I don't think it revealed all of it to me, only some of what has been done. Stuff that can't be fixed, can't be taken back, can't be paid back. And totally unprovoked and undeserved. And I had to take time to meditate on it. And I'm glad that I have the understanding that I do, and that's what I did. You know, I did tell the person off. I felt that I needed to be heard. I don't know if I was heard, but I needed to voice my point of view on it. And then I went quiet, and I decided to just kind of chill, just pray, meditate, rest, relax, and chill. Go into kind of hermit mode for a little bit, and practice a lot of self-care, and just chill, right? And just keep praying, and I got the answer. And it's funny when you ask Jaja, you ask the universe for an answer, and you think it's like this big complicated answer, like there's going to be flashes of lightning from the sky, or some angel with a halo is going to come and appear to you and everything. That's never how it is. It's very simple, and it was in front of me the whole time. The answer was in front of me the whole time. And I'm going to tell you what it is, but I want you to listen. Like, I've been blessed to be used to do a lot of things for a lot of different types of people in a lot of different situations. And I don't really like to talk too much about all of that, because I don't do it because I want recognition, or I want a halo, or I want a medal, or I want people to say, oh wow, what a wonderful, brave person. I want to honor and respect people's dignity and right to privacy, and not tell their business, you know, or anything like that. But there's a lot of people I've helped, and some of the people that I've helped were not innocent people. There were people who had done some bad stuff. You know, I would visit people in prison, or I would talk to people who were severely mentally ill, or things like that. And when people are ill, or they're suffering from addiction, or they're afflicted, they sometimes do some pretty gnarly stuff, you know. And I thought about that, and I thought about, like, how I would talk to some of them. Like, some of them would confess, or start to confess things to me, about the bad things that they had done. And I would always stop them, and I would tell them that, you know, now I have a collar, now I'm clergy, but back then I was not clergy. And I would tell them that this is not a confession situation. You know, I'm not clergy, I'm not wearing a collar, I'm not clergy. And, you know, so you don't, you know, I don't have the ability to say, you know, to someone, this is a confession, and I can't really divulge what was said. And if you're about to tell me something that is a crime, or if you're about to tell me something where, you know, if questioned by a police officer or something, I would have to turn you in, then you might want to think about what you're about to say, because I don't really want to be in that position, you know. Hold on a sec.